Hello, just a few today. Um, just some albums that I really loved at the time. Um, Still love them, but I don't play them much anymore. But just love them when they came out. This was very great album. Excellent album. Marquee Moon, Television, their first album. See No Evil, Venus, Friction, Marquee Moon. The title track is it's hypnotic. Uh, it's almost a droney. I don't know. It's just great. Elevation, Guiding Light, great track. Prove It and Torn Curtain, great album. The follow up I bought, Adventure. It wasn't a patch on the first album. There's some real powerful magic on this album, and I've got Tom Verlaine's first solo album, which is an excellent solo album. And David Bowie covered one of the tracks on there. Tom Verlaine, lead vocals, guitar. Richard Lloyd, guitar, vocals. Fred Smith, bass and vocals. I think that's no, I'm not sure. And Billy Ficker, drums. So that's 1977. So I've got two albums from 77 and maybe three. I'll check in a minute. Yeah, so Tom Verlaine, of course. Richard Lloyd, Mr. Ficker, and Fred Smith. So there they are. See, in the original television, they were had Richard Hell was in the original version of television before they actually recorded this album. So he left and came up with his first solo album. I think this is 77, but it has to be. I think 76 is a fraction early. But Richard Hell. Blank Generation. Richard Hell and the Voidoids. Love Comes in Spurts. What a killer opening track. Liars Beware, New Pleasure, Betrayal Takes Two, Down at the Rock and Roll Club, Who Says. These are all very short songs, mostly, 2 minutes and under, with a couple of 3 minutes. And side two, Blank Generation, that's what this is famous for. Walking on Water, The Plan, and Another World, which is a bit of an extended jam that goes for 8 minutes. But there's the guys. Mark Bell ended up joining the Ramones. Ivan Julian, he's still alive. He's had a lot of health problems recently. Cool looking dude. Guitars. Mark Bell was drums, of course. Richard Hell, bass and vocals. And the fantastic Robert Quine, brilliant guitarist. Brilliant guitarist. As you can see, he's older than the other guys in the band. But he unfortunately committed suicide, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe. His wife had cancer and died, and he killed himself. It's such a shame. Wonderful, really good guitarist. Yeah, this is a punk band, but he was sort of like a jazzy style, but he could also rip and do some shredding, not shredding, but He's just a great guitarist. He had such a, his own sound. Sort of like Robert Fripp's got his own peculiar sound. There's something about Robert Quine that was so special. These two albums, and one thing before I get onto those, whoopsie doopsie. Richard Hell came out to Waterfront Records in the late 80s. He was promoting, I don't know, something. But I met him in Waterfront Records down at Central in Sydney. He was there for a sign, doing signings in the record shop. Not many people showed up. This is like 10 years after this. Yes, but he did actually. I actually bought this off him. Met him there. Artifact Richard Hell. That's what he looked like before he was a punk. That's when he was, I suppose, a bit of a hippie-looking dude. But there's his autograph. Richard Hell. I think he was jonesing at the time. He was on and off junkie for a long time, and you could smell it off him. There's a certain odour that they let out when they're jonesing, and it's a sort of metallic-y smell. And he was jonesing. He just wanted to sell a couple of books and records, get the money, and piss off, hop down to Chinatown, which is literally across the road, and get some smack. But yeah, that was so. This is their first album. No, this is definitely into the 80s. I thought these might have been late 70s. Oh, I love both these albums. Wow, I love these two albums. The first Psychedelic FURS album from 1980, produced by Steve Lillywhite, who was a big name producer at the time. The Butler Brothers, with John Ashton guitar, Vince Ely drums, and somebody, Morris guitar. But the way they've written this is, you can't read it. Duncan Kilburn saxes. Yeah, side 1, India, fantastic. Sister Europe, fantastic. Imitation of Christ, fantastic. Fall, Pulse. Side 2, We Love You, fantastic. Not the Stones song. Wedding Song, Blacks, Radio Flowers. This is a great album. Truly, truly great. Their first, and I still think they're best. I remember I took this to a party out this way. I was living in Sydney in those days. I came out this way to a party, and I put it on, and it was like they were all in the Fleetwood Mac and Supertramp and shit like that. I played it once, and everyone sort of going, it was a bit hard for them to consider. But by the time I played it the third time, everyone was jumping around the room to it. I went, wow, that's good, so converted a few Fleetwood Mac nobodies onto this one. This is a follow-up, and oh man, I thrashed this to heck. Talk, talk, talk. Not the band Talk, 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 but the Psychedelic FURS Talk, Talk, Talk. Same lineup. Great. This is terrific. Dumb Waiters, Pretty in Pink. I think that became famous in a movie at some stage. I Want to Sleep with You, No Tears, Mr. Jones. Side 2, Into You Like a Train. That's the killer track on this. It Goes On, So Run Down, All of This and Nothing, She Is Mine. It's a great, great album. I absolutely thrashed this. And I actually saw them I got the third album on CD. I did have it on vinyl. I've got the third album on CD, Forever Now, which has got that wonderful Love My Way, produced by Todd Rundgren, I think, somebody like famous. great track. But they sort of they just put out an album this year earlier, and it got getting really good reviews. But I actually saw them. Yeah, it was the early '80s. It would have been pretty much just after or around the time this came out, and we were disappointed a bit because it was once again down at Central in Sydney. Um, and the band were great, but Butler, the singer, with his wonderful gravelly voice, he was writhing around on his back on the floor, and I thought on the stage, but on his back, and the band were playing great, but he was sort of just like incoherent, and I thought, oh fuck, what a bummer, you know. He was out of it. I read in an interview with recently, he said, I don't know if he got spiked, but he was on a super duper acid. Someone had spiked him, I think, which is the nastiest thing you can do to anybody. And he was having the heebie-jeebies on stage, and you could see it. He was just not there. It was a bit like when I saw Keith Richards in '73 in Sydney, and he was so out of it on smack. He was nodding off while he was playing, and I was right in front of him. He was just there, and he was gone. You know, they were so sloppy. Anyway, gee, it's supposed to be a short one. I don't know. I just recommend those albums if you're a young person in your 50s and you've never heard these 4 albums. They still sound great today. Really, really great albums. So if you haven't heard any of them, or you've only heard a couple, I can recommend those. If you like any one of these, you will like all 4. Anyway, take care all.